Hello, amazing viewers, football fans around the world. You're very much welcome to Let's Talk Football here on TAP TV. My name is Cyril Aloysius and I am your host. Thank you so much for joining me. And doing the preview with me today is Mr. Chidubem, someone who knows a thing or two about football, about sports. You're very much welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
I really appreciate you for stopping by.
Thank you.
Yes, and this is a show where, of course, we'll do a preview on, the top games across Europe coming up during the weekend. Yes, and of course, next week we'll be doing a review of the games that have been played during the weekend. So always make sure you keep it a date with us. The Queen passed a few days ago, and as a result of that, football in England was put on a hold. So, Mr. Chidubem, how do you react to this, given the fact that Premier League had to stop because of that? A whole lot of persons and a lot of businesses were affected. How do you react to this?
Well, for football fans or Premier League fans outside of the UK or in Africa, most especially, I think it was a sad one for us not to get to experience the thrill of the Premier League, that we love so much. It was a boring weekend for most of us.
Very, very boring.
But
for me in particular.
Yeah, but for them in the UK, it was a thing of necessity for them to pay respect to their loving, longest serving monarch, that just passed. So I think it was a good thing to pay their respects to the Queen. Yeah. So.
Okay. So just before we go straight now to the main business, let me ask: don't you think, or do you think, putting football on a hold, football in England on a hold, do you think it's going too far? Do you see that as going too far, or you felt maybe there were other ways we could have actually remembered the Queen or celebrated the Queen? Because she passed at 96 years, and from my understanding, someone who passed at that age is, I think that's supposed to be a celebration of life.
Yes, but for me, it wasn't just...
And I feel there were other ways she could have been remembered and, of course, celebrated, instead of just putting a stop to football in England. Don't you think so?
Not really, because we're not just talking of, anybody, any 96-year-old. We're talking about Queen Elizabeth II, the Queen of England. So, and it came as a shock, a shock to, most of them in the UK there. So it wasn't just football generally that stopped. It's basically everything in the UK, came to a complete, not a complete halt, but majority of the things in the UK there, it was a shock. People were, trying to assimilate the whole, the whole thing that just happened. So, I don't think it was it wasn't. I don't think it was a bad thing for them to call it off. If they had extended the stop to another week, then it would have been too much. But that's first because it was just a few days before the weekend.
But still, some games have been postponed.
Yes.
As a result of this.
Yes. According to them, for Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man U Leeds, it's the reason they gave are policing issues, and it's understandable because those games are.
Crystal Palace and Brighton as well.
No, Crystal Palace and Brighton is a totally different thing. It was already going to be postponed for a rail strike that was going to happen on Saturday. Now the rail strike is no more happening, but the game is still postponed because of other logistic issues. But the rail strike that was the reason for the postponement is no longer going to happen. I think as a result of the passing of the Queen also. But that game still won't go on. But the Chelsea, Liverpool, and the Man U Leeds game, it's as a result of policing issues. It's just 24 hours before the funeral of the Queen, and there's going to be a lot of logistics around, policemen that are needed. So, and they are big games, they are huge games, rival games, so just to avoid... So
they have to play safe?
They're playing safe, just to avoid, any this thing that might come out of it.
Okay, Mr. Chidubem, Southampton travels to Aston Villa this weekend. How do you see the outcome, or what do you think of the outcome of that game?
Aston Villa,
given the fact that before the break, actually, I think to me, the most informed team between the two was Southampton, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So I don't know. What do you make of that particular game come this weekend?
I think it's for me. It's a battle between two mid-table teams. Aston Villa not doing so well this season yet. Since the beginning of this season, but they are at home against the Southampton that you cannot really predict. You know, sometimes they play amazing football. I mean, they try to play good football all the time because their coach always encourages them to play football. But you never know the kind of Southampton that will.
They defeated Chelsea, by the way.
They defeated Chelsea, but Chelsea, you know, haven't traveled well this season. You know, they've lost three straight away games, apart from the first one they won against Everton at the beginning of the season. So I expect Aston Villa to also bounce back. Aston Villa, after that huge encouraging point that they got against the champions Man City in their last home game, I expect them to build upon on that. Yes, because their only win this season has been at home against Everton, and then to get that point against City, I think they would take that as a huge stepping stone to you know, carry on their season and maybe start their season.
Okay. So just before we draw the curtain on that particular game, do you see Steven Gerrard as the next manager to be sacked, to get the sack in the league, given how shaky his performances have been since the start of the season?
The only reason I would say no is because
right now the fans are really singing, "Oh, Steven Gerrard, Stevie out, Stevie out." So
the only reason I would say no is because there's a manager that his own job is even more shaky, which is the Leicester manager that has only 1 point.
No, you know, getting to that actually.
That has only 1 point all game. So I think Steven Gerrard will be given the opportunity to you know, try and salvage their season, because it's still quite early in the season. We know how well he did at Rangers.
It's still quite early, you say?
Yes, we know how well he did at Rangers, and I personally feel they should give him time to, you know,
but that's
with
Rangers.
The new players that are.
Aston Villa is in Premier League.
Yes, I know the pressure of the Premier League and all that. But I personally feel that Gerrard can still come good, so that they should give him, you know, the time to, maybe another month or two into the new season. Then if it doesn't work out, you know that by December it should be gone.
Your use of the word "it should be gone." It's so funny. Okay, Fulham also travel to Nottingham Forest this weekend. On Friday, that game comes up on Friday. So what do you make of that particular game?
Fulham.
Nottingham hasn't been the best of form since the start of the season.
And Fulham haven't come up with Nottingham, and Bournemouth have been the most better performing teams out of the three promoted teams. And in my opinion, I think if they continue the way they have started, they're definitely going to stay up this season. They play fantastic football. Yes. And their coach, Silva, has experience of the Premier League.
Not just Silva, what's his name? Alexander Mitrovic is also
he's in the form of his life.
Mad form right now.
He's in the form of his life. After banging 43 goals last season, he has carried that form onto the new season. And then, you know, I think he's on 5 goals or 6 goals.
4 goals in 5.
No, it's more than 4 goals.
Oh!
More than 4. Is that 5 or 6 now?
Wow.
You know, so with an informed striker like them, and the whole team generally is playing, you know, fantastic attacking football. And
do you see him remaining at Fulham next season? Should he continue this form?
I don't know what team would be a step up for him in the Premier League, except if you're looking at
any top team would be a step up for him.
Yes, but which top team is going to buy him now? Not any of the top 6 is going to buy a Mitrovic. You know, except you're looking at Newcastle because of the money they will have and the fact that they're expected to do better. They will soon be a top 8, top 10 team, you know, consistently. So that might be a step up for him. But I think for now, he should just stay at Fulham and look to do well for them. Yeah.
Man City travel to Wolves.
That's an early kickoff game, right?
Yes, an early kickoff game.
Yeah.
So what do you make of that particular game? Man City are in form. Wolves have just acquired the services of former Chelsea striker in the person of Diego Costa. Diego Terra Costa. I call him Diego Terra Costa because of how troublesome he is. I believe right now some Premier League defenders will actually be, for him to use the word, you know, pooping in their pants right now because of the terror he gave to them when he was in the Premier League. So right now he's back. So to make a statement, of course, in another jersey. So what do you make of his return?
I think it's a good move for Wolves. It's a free transfer, you know, and it's also a good move for the Premier League generally. You know, getting to watch Diego Costa again. I know he was last year 5 years ago, and it's not the same Diego Costa. He's 33 now, and he hasn't played in the last 5 months.
Yeah.
Yes, he's been free since January. So according to him, he would need 2 to 3 weeks to, you know, try and get in his strides. And yes, so I think
it's quite rusty now.
I think it would be a good move generally. He has the Premier League experience. He may not be as quick, fast, as rugged as he was 5 years ago. He might not be able to bully defenders the way he was doing, you know, back then. But he's still a top player, and I expect him to do well for Wolves. So going back to the game, we know Wolves are a good team defensively. They don't score a lot of goals, so their strength is usually on defense. It will be a tight game. I expect it to be a tight game. But this is City we're talking about, and City has, you know, Haaland, you know, who's a goal machine, always hungry for goals. I expect that City will come out on top. It will be close. It will be tough, but. And it's an early kickoff. You know, early kickoff always seems to have shockers here and there. But I expect that City will come out on top.
Okay.
Yeah.
So given the fact that Wolves are coming up against a really attacking City side, who will be looking to tear them apart this weekend.
Yeah.
You know how Wolves play. They usually sit deep and then, you know, soak the pressure and then hit you on the break.
Yeah.
Do you see them coming out with at least a point against Man City?
It's going to be tough. It's going to
given
be
the
tough.
fact that they're also playing at home. So
yes.
The home advantage, the fans behind them. Do you see them at least coming up with a point?
Like I said, this is Man City we're talking about, and you mentioned them playing at home. I remember their last home game. It took Man City only 45 minutes to kill off the game, and they were 3-0 up going into the break. Wow. So it depends on.
But that's in the past.
It depends on, yes, just last season. It depends on how Wolves, you know, also come out to the game, and if they are up for it and their fans are backing them and all that, it may turn out to be a very tough game for City. But I still expect that City will have more than enough for Wolves. I mean, the attacking options are just too much, and then with a Haaland that, I mean, 10 goals in the first 6 games. It's
he's on fire right now. Fire. He's flying.
I just can't see how Wolves will stop him.
Do you see anybody catching him on the race for the Golden Boot?
I expected Salah would push him, but Salah has not been playing well. So I don't think there's anybody that will come close. Not Kane, not Salah, not anybody.
Okay, that's enough for that particular fixture. Let's move over now to the next one. Bournemouth travel to Newcastle this weekend.
Bournemouth, Newcastle. Managerless Bournemouth. They were lucky to. I wouldn't say lucky, but they had a good second half in their last game, 2-0 down Forest. Against Forest, and they turned it around to win. Gary Cahill is not Gary Cahill. I can't remember his name now. I can picture the face, not the name. The caretaker manager. Okay. Will be using it as an audition to secure the job. So he would be hoping that his boys, you know, turn up for him. And Newcastle have been doing well. They're a much better team since.
Money has come now.
Much better team since.
There's money now.
Yeah, since the new coach came, and you know, they are playing quite well. Played very well against City, and I think they were unlucky not to, you know, win the game. But that was, you know, more of kudos to City. So I expect Newcastle to defeat Bournemouth, especially as it's at the St. James Park. Yeah. Okay.
Given the fact that yes, Newcastle has been in good form recently, but given the fact that their number 10, I think I would say, is the most influential player they have, which is Alan Saint-Maximin. Yeah. I think he had an injury in the last game before the break. Given that fact, do you see them really posing much of a threat to Bournemouth this weekend? Because yes, I don't know if you watch Newcastle's game, you see that Alan Saint-Maximin is really the main person they have there. Yes. And if he's not in the game, it's almost like there's no creativity. Nothing's going to happen. So do you see them posing a major threat to Bournemouth this weekend?
You know, so there are no more that much of a one-man team, to be honest to them, to be fair to them. I mean, they've been playing so well that even though St. Maximin wasn't in the last game, they played that game where they played Liverpool. Maximin wasn't in the game, and they gave Liverpool one.
A good run for their money.
I'm telling you, because Liverpool scored 98 minutes for a match that was supposed to end 95th minutes.
Alexander Isak.
Yes, he scored.
Got the goal.
Yes,
on his debut.
On his debut. It was a good game for Newcastle, and they were unlucky not to get the points because a match that was supposed to end 95th minutes, it was extended to 98, and that was when Liverpool got the goal. So they played really well without St. Maximin, without Callum Wilson. So I think they're a more balanced team these days, and they will do well even without St. Maximin.
All right, enough of that. Let's start travel over to White Hart Lane to face Tottenham Hotspur, Antonio Conte's Tottenham Hotspur. What do you make of that particular fixture? Do you see Leicester at least coming up with something better from what they've been giving us all season?
To be honest,
Brendan Rodgers is amongst. I think he's one of the managers who is in the blacklist of managers who might get the sack before this month is over. So, do you see him still keeping his job after the? I think regardless of the outcome of this game, come weekend.
It depends on how it ends. I mean, if it turns out to be a whitewash, then he might just have to go.
Because
if it ends 2-0, if it ends 2-0, if it ends 2-1, he might still be able to, keep his job for another week or two. But if it ends 4-0, 5-0, then everybody will just give up on him. So I hope that for the sake of Brendan Rodgers, the team, really comes out to play well against Spurs. I know Spurs had the Champions League game earlier in the week, which they lost. So they will also be looking to bounce back. From that, and I expect Conte to really tear into his players for that performance in the Champions League. So they'll be looking to also impress him.
They almost got a draw in that game.
Yes, they almost. I mean, two
90-minute
goals. Yes, 2 late goals was what
2 goals in 3 minutes
sunk them in that game. So they'll be highly disappointed. They'll be highly disappointed about it. I don't think Leicester is going to get anything out of the game. I don't think so.
But
Spurs would have too much.
What do you think could be the problem right now with Leicester? This wasn't the Leicester we saw last season.
Yes.
I know Leicester are quite very. In fact, Leicester has been very unpredictable ever since they won the league back in 2016. They've been a very unpredictable team, given that fact. So what do you think could be the problem with Leicester now? Because they are becoming more and more predictable as the day goes by, as the weeks go by.
I think the manager might need to also tinker his style a bit and also,
be dynamic, right?
Yes,
be more dynamic.
Yes, because I think once people are able to maybe hold a Maddison down or just take control of the midfield, they don't seem to be able to do anything different or anything extra. Do
you see their challenges now as a result of the fact that they did not make major signings as much as other team did? Because they actually sold some players as well.
Yeah, so yes. I don't know what it was, but obviously they didn't manage the whole thing well.
They were
because
really busy in the transfer market.
It's almost like they weren't planning to sell and they weren't planning to buy.
Okay.
So
but they lost Fofana recently.
Fofana, I think they didn't want to sell him, but he wanted to go. So because of that, I think they now also had to go into the market also. So they were not prepared to buy, basically. So I think that has also affected them. Hopefully now that the transfer window has closed and he knows the players that he'll be working with now, they can now focus, properly on the league and seeing how far they can go in the league. But I mean, they still have Jamie Vardy. They have great players in that team that can do far better than what they are doing now. So I expect them to focus now and see what they can achieve.
All right, Arsenal. Arsenal, who saw their 100% start to the season put to an end against the game between them and Manchester United. That game ended 1-0. They travel now to face Brentford. That's on Sunday. And Brentford, the Bees. Do you see them stinging the Gunners this time?
I remember the first game of last season
where they stung. They got stung by the Bees.
Yes, but that's Arsenal of old now. This is a much better Arsenal team, and they've started this season well. Sad to see their 100% record against Man U tarnished because they should have gone ahead in the game, if not for the fault of the VAR team and then the coach that decided to rescind this decision. So Arsenal is playing well this season. I expect that Brentford will give them a good run, but Arsenal should be able to nick it just based on the fact that they're a much better team and much better players and the informed team. Brentford has also started the season well. They are at home, the same home where they beat Man U 4-0 in the second game of the season. So I expect that it will be tight. It's a London derby. You know, the fans will be up for it. It will be a very hard game for us now, but I think and I expect that they should be able to nick something.
Okay. So the last fixture for the Premier League this weekend is that of West Ham against Everton. West Ham will be travelling over to Everton at Goodison Park. Yeah. That game, of course, promises to be a very tough one, given the form of both teams. They haven't been really consistent this season, but let's see what comes out. What do you make of that particular fixture?
I think it's going to be
Frank Lampard and David Moyes.
Yes, I think it's going to be a tough fixture for both of them. I expect it to be very tight. West Ham haven't been doing well this season, even though they've been playing well but not getting the results that they deserve. I think they've been robbed in a few of their games, especially the Chelsea game the last game they played against Chelsea. They should have gotten a point out of that match, you know, at least. And then with the distraction of the Europa Conference League also, I think it might be what is hampering them also. But Everton, on the other hand, I think it's a resurgent team now. They've after their point they got against Liverpool, I expect that they would want to kick on from there and try and build on that. Of course, their goalkeeper will be a huge loss for them after the injury picked up against Liverpool. Yes, Pickford. He's injured for that game, so it will be a huge loss for them. So, but I expect that they can still get something as they are at home with their fans right behind them. It's a bit tough fixture for Moyes, but anything can happen in that game. But I expect it to be a tight one. Yeah. All right.
Just shortly before we move over to major fixtures now in other leagues in Europe.
Yeah.
What's your prediction for Aston Villa versus Southampton?
Aston Villa to win. It will be close, but Aston Villa to win. Maybe 2-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your prediction for Fulham versus Nottingham Forest?
Fulham, the much better team, scoring goals for fun, Mitrovic on fire. I would say
Fulham to win.
Fulham to win, obviously. Okay. Definitely 2-0 maybe. Yeah.
Okay, what are your predictions for games against Manchester City and Wolves and Bournemouth and Newcastle United?
Let's go Bournemouth, Newcastle first. Newcastle is home, right? At the St. James Park. Newcastle to win.
Okay.
I expect there to be lots of goals in that game. You know, two open teams, two attacking teams. Newcastle to win 3-1.
Okay.
While Man City, Wolves. Man City will definitely have too much for Wolves. Wolves are good defensively, but they can't hold down Haaland for 90 minutes or De Bruyne for that matter. So
it's
I think
football.
2-0. I think 3-0. But
it's football.
City will definitely win.
Okay. What are your predictions for Leicester City versus Tottenham? White Hart Lane.
Even though I'm hoping for Tottenham not to win, but my head says Tottenham win.
Okay.
Tottenham win against Leicester that is not in form. Yes.
Okay, so Arsenal and Brentford, what are your predictions?
Arsenal, Brentford, London derby, Brentford at home. They would huff and puff, but Arsenal to win 2-1.
Okay, last one, West Ham, Everton.
West Ham, Everton, I'd go for a draw. I think it's going to be tight, evenly balanced teams, maybe 1-1.
Right, Mr. Chidubem, thank you so much for joining me today on Let's Talk Football. Unfortunately, this is where we have to draw the curtain on Let's Talk Football for today. But don't forget that you can also be a part of this show. You have some questions to ask, you have some suggestions to make. Do well to drop them in the comment section of this particular program, okay? And of course, every of our social media platform. You can check us out on YouTube. We are TAF TV. On Instagram, we are TAF TV _NG. On Facebook, we are TAF TV. And on Twitter, we are TAF TV. My name is Cyril Aloysius. And of course, this is the end of it, the road for me here. Don't forget to, meet me up next week for the review of the games that we just talked about today. So keep it a date with us. Until we come here again next time, to have a blessed and wonderful time. It's bye for now.